Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 66 of the road to 2K on chess.com. Today, we're sitting at 1871 after a tough loss in our last game. So, let's see what we can do on today's date. And it looks like we are going to play in 1853 from Ukraine. So, we're going to start with e4. And our opponent plays e5. So, we still haven't really done enough study to change our repertoire yet. So, I'm still playing the Vienna. We play a bishop to c4 hoping for this copycat variation, and we do finally get it. So queen to g4 comes out. King to f8 is the best move here. We do have to be a little bit careful here, because now if our opponent were to play d5, it is an attack on the bishop and the queen. And I believe in this position, the move is queen to f3, threatening mate in 1. Our opponent blocks with the knight. At this point, I'm going to play knight g to e2. Our opponent develops their bishop, looking to come to this square. And now we do have to be a little bit careful. What I'm tempted to do is to play the move d3. And after the bishop comes in, we slide over. Or we could actually play h3 and just stop the bishop from coming in altogether. So I think we're going to do that. Let's play h3. And do we want to castle, or do we want to play d3 first? Or do we even want to play d4? So a lot of options here. We have time. It's not like we're in a huge rush. Really, we just want to make sure that we don't immediately get blown off the board. The knight comes back to b5. And I think here I'm just going to play bishop to b3, and if our opponent wants to take off the bishop for the knight, I'm completely fine with that. And now they play c6, which does stop our knight from coming into the center. We almost have d4, but instead I think I'm going to go for d3 first, so that this bishop can come out. Are they going to play h6 to stop that? They don't. But that seems a little bit counterintuitive. Why can I not play bishop takes? And then this knight is trapped. So I'm going to play bishop to g5, targeting the knight. The king comes up. And here, I'm actually really tempted to play rook to b1 to try and get b4. Our opponent still has to deal with this threat. There's no bishop sack ideas that work yet. The bishop comes out attacking our knight. I think we're just going to go ahead and play a3. And let's take back with the knight. We're now threatening b4, which would trap the knight. So our opponent does have to play a prophylactic move here. They find it. b4, knight comes back. We grab the space. And how do I improve the position? We could castle. Castling seems logical. Gets our king out of the center. The rook does finally come in. And now if I play queen here, let's play queen to e3. The knight can now move. I suppose it could go there. Let's go ahead. Let's play f4. And I want to come in with the rook. Then we're going to just really, once again, bring all of our pieces over to the attack. Rook captures f4. If our opponent goes here, we probably play... maybe we don't play that first. But our opponent commits to e5. And if I come back, there is knight to g4, but I don't think it's fast enough. So very interesting position we have here. So our opponent has now finally enabled the movement of their knight. But because they have done that, I'm going to take this first. Let's take again. And now I think I want to try and start attacking as quickly as possible. So let's start with rook to f1, attacking this. The queen is still threatening over here on a7. We also might have ideas like queen to h6 seems especially strong here, because now we're attacking this pawn and we're attacking the h pawn. I don't see a way to defend both of them. And part of this is our opponent is just playing very, very fast, which, once again, it's always our opponent's right to play fast. It's probably not the best way to go about it, but it is a 10-minute game. I hope they don't beat us on a clock. It's always an option. So the rook comes in. If I play queen takes first, if I play queen check, the rook is going to block. So maybe I play rook captures here first. And if king comes here, I don't see the follow-up. So maybe queen captures f6 is the better way to start. The king is forced back to e8, and our opponent is now threatening to take this. I'm up a pawn. If I come back one, I attack the queen and I do stop this threat. Our opponent takes. Now what do we do here? What's the best way through? I think we actually want to take with the pawn and then try and bring our knight into the position, because now we've created a passed pawn on the f-file. Our opponent, I mean, the way they've been playing, I think they'll probably play d5 to stop us from coming in quickly. But instead they go that way. So that makes me inclined to just play knight to e4, threatening this fork. The opponent comes up. I think we take once, and knight takes, we win this pawn. So good counterattacking chess by our opponent. I could play h6 here. And if they take, we take. Let's do that. Our opponent can come in, but essentially it's knight for knight. They go for that. We'll take. And this probably wasn't a very clean way to go about this position. So we'll play rook to c1, targeting this pawn. I don't think there's a way to defend it. Our opponent could come up to f6. But at the end of all these trades, we'll be up material. All right, so rook captures c6. They go after our pawn. Let's play rook to c3. g4. And if they want to take, they can. We'll start bringing our king into the position. They come up. We'll play king to f3. H captures g4. And the rook comes in. If we come all the way up, that doesn't help us. So let's play rook to b3. We'll let them take here. We're going to take this pawn. And are they going to play rook to f4 check? They don't. So we do have a tactic here. Is if we play rook captures e5, king captures, and then king captures knight, they can start to run. We play a4. If they take, we play here. So we're going to start with rook captures e5. King captures g4. And here we have to play the move a4. Because if they take our pawn, this pawn is going to run. If that's the case, we're going to play king to f5. And I think here we can actually play king to e6. King takes, pawn up, king runs. Yeah, king to e6. And we're just going to go ahead, convert this endgame. We'll get our win. Now they can come back. We just play a5, a6. We got our queen. And they're going to make us play it out. I respect it. I would make someone else play this out against me too. We'll play queen back. King comes up. And they get to pick where their mating square is. But GG to our opponent. Let's go ahead. Let's look at the game review and see how we actually did. So today's date, we played with an 81.2 and our opponent played with a 75.8. After e4, e5, knight c3, and we get into a copycat Vienna, our opponent did know the theory by playing king to f8, which is the best move. Queen to f3 was correct. I was also thinking about queen to g3, which is fine, but normally the idea behind playing queen to g3 is you target this weak g7 pawn, but with the king moving over to f8, I didn't think it was nearly as good. Knight f6, knight gd2. We played h3 just to stop the shenanigans with bishop coming to g4. After knight to a5, bishop b3, c6, d3. Bishop to e6, this is where we really saw our first chance to play for an advantage. So we played bishop captures e6, f captures e6, but we found the wrong move with bishop to g5. Now, what it appears to me is that the biggest threat in this position is that the knight is currently pinned. So maybe the move g4 holds some of the advantage, but the actual move that we needed to define here was a3, threatening this first. Excuse me. Man. Bishop g5, king f7, rook b1, and once again, it's probably calling for a3 to get this fork idea. Rook to b1, bishop b4, a3, bishop captures, and knight captures, and we get into this position here. Now, b captures c3, we did consider because we do target this pawn. However, this knight then becomes pretty difficult to remove, and I was worried about it jumping somehow into our position. However, I am also seeing now that with b captures c3, we do now enable d4, although the knight can jump into the c4 square. But after b4, we kick the knight away. We castle to get our king out of the center to get our rook into the game. Rook f8, queen to e3. And here I probably could have considered a couple different moves. I wonder if queen to e2 was also playable just to stay out of the position. But after king to g8 and f4, we're trying to break down this f file as quickly as we can. So e captures f4, rook captures f4. We brought our rook back, captured the pawn after they move their queen, which removes a defender. And really just we get to double their pawns and open up their king. So rook to f1, king f7, and queen to h6. We have this fork where he should be winning material, no doubt. King to g8 was fine. Now here, I was looking at the move rook captures f6 instead, which the engine does say is the better move. However, after the opponent moves to e7, I didn't really know what the best follow-up is here. It says it loses a queen. And my assumption is we actually probably play queen captures h7 check. And then after king captures, obviously the queen captures queen. And if the pawn moves back, then we just go ahead and we have queen captures rook. So a little bit of a mistake on our part. Instead, we played queen captures f6, king and queen to f5, and traded into this endgame, which is slightly better. In this position, I thought instead of playing h5, our opponent could play d4, which does weaken, or sorry, d5. It weakens the e5 pawn, but it stops my knight from coming in. a5, knight to e4, king to f7, b captures a5, and d5 first. We did find the correct move with a6, sacrificing our knight, but we're going to win their knight if they take, which happened in the game. And what I didn't notice and what I really should have been better about is thinking about the counterplay that's going to happen in this position. Is because I went about this way, our opponent had rook to b8, and we had to get into a little bit of a messy endgame to hold our advantage. Here, we probably could have even solidified with a move like g4 or a move like rook to c5. But instead, we get here. We had to hold our pieces. King to f2, king to f3, and we get here. After rook to a4, we did see we're losing this pawn. And after rook to b3, our opponent did find the best move with rook captures g4. I don't know what the engine actually wanted us to play here. The position doesn't make a ton of sense. I guess maybe rook to c5 to attack the two pawns. But in this position, I thought what our opponent was going to do is play rook f4 check after king over, then you take the pawn. However, the way they went about it is they took the pawn with the king, which allows for rook captures e5, deflecting the king away. After king captures e5 and king captures g4, the opponent king is closer to our two pawns. However, the biggest difference here is that we can just push the a4 pawn or push the edge pawn, and our opponent has to waste tempo getting to that pawn. And as we move on, we queen, we block them off, and we find a pretty quick mate after that. So, thank you everyone for watching. If you have comments on how I played, leave it on down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. And then finally, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, and that'll help you to make sure that you don't miss any of my future content. And on that note, I will see you guys on the next episode.